All right, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Jeremy on Marketing podcast. Hopefully, you were able to check out episode number one. Just kind of dove into who I am, why you should be listening to me, a bit about my backstory. If you don't know anything about me and you're kind of wondering why you're here, definitely go back to that first episode, check it out. You'll learn way more about Patch, kind of who I am, what mission I'm on with Patch, and why I started my physical therapy company and why I eventually removed myself from that physical therapy company and sold that company. And the second episode, I'm super excited for the second episode. I think one of the things that I did with Ripple super well was the branding side of things and really understanding the story. And I had a really unique story where, again, I'm not a physical therapist. I wanted to be a physical therapist, but I felt burned by the system and didn't really know, what I wanted to do. And, when I lost my job during COVID and, kind of went out self-employed, my goal was to give people care and hire a physical therapist in a one-on-one 60-minute environment where people can come in, they can get manual therapy, they can get proper strength training. And I think a physical therapist is the best person to do that. And that was really the story and the mission and everything behind Ripple. And we really leaned into that when we were creating our brand. So today, what I want to talk about is Patch. And, what is Patch? What's the story behind Patch? What is the branding all about? What was that process? And really, what is the story brand? And, why as a clinic owner do you need to take marketing seriously? Because I think a lot of clinic owners don't take marketing seriously. And it's, kind of the last thing you think about. Obviously you want to put a good product out there. So the clinical excellence has to be top notch. You obviously want to be doing your local relationships. So that's super important. I think a lot of clinic owners are entrepreneurs that, we're just forced into entrepreneurship. So you're really not thinking about branding. You're more so worried about how are we getting new patients in the door. So that is really what Patch is doing and, what I want to talk about today. And I think a really important and a really good place to start with this is, kind of putting myself back in my shoes, and maybe you will resonate with this or you're here right now, is when I hired my first physical therapist for Ripple. Now, again, my story was a little bit different because I was a massage therapist and I just hired this physical therapist who's taking a shot on me. I know I can keep myself busy and I know people are coming in to see me, but I'm not a physical therapist. So how do I get this person in the door? At the time, I had no idea about marketing. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. This is 3 years ago. So I did what pretty much everybody, I'm sure, does, and I hired a marketing company. I spent $10,000 on that marketing company. They were not cheap. It's a couple $1,000s a month, and they were going to do back-end technical SEO for me. They were going to, get me on first page of Google for Boston physical therapy. I was going to spend money on Google ads and, try to, they kind of promise all of these new patients were going to walk in the door. So, again, I had to feed this new physical therapist patients, and I really didn't know how to do it. So I dove in. I said, sure, let's do it. Within the first 3 months, I spent just about $10,000 on Google ads and obviously their marketing fee. Within those first 3 months, this marketing company that I was working with, they were ecstatic. They were like, man, you're getting so many hits, so many great results. This is awesome. But I was on the back end. And again, I didn't know anything about marketing. So you probably, feel the same way. And, everybody, sure, my phone was ringing a ton, but everybody that I was talking with was looking for Mass General physical therapy, or they were looking for a Medicare clinic, or they were, 10 miles north of Boston, which 10 miles doesn't seem like a ton, but if you've ever driven in Boston traffic, 10 miles north of Boston might as well be Canada. It's that far away. So there's just no way these people were coming in. So what I realized is that, this marketing company, sure, it sounds like they know what they're doing, but they don't understand physical therapy. And at that point, and especially they didn't understand cash-based physical therapy, right? Because we were paying out of pocket, we weren't taking any sort of insurance. So that's a really specific avatar that I need to go after. And I realized that, you know, nobody really knows how to market to, an active adult that's looking for progressive physical therapy. It's really hard to find that person, right? So, obviously, that contract with them lasted about 90 days, and I took it on myself of kind of talking to myself of I need to learn how to do these things. I had really big goals for Ripple. I wanted to grow it to multiple providers, multiple locations. And I realized if I was going to do this, then I need to understand marketing and I need to really figure out all of these things. And that kind of started my, for lack of a better word, obsession on branding and marketing and copy work and Google ads and everything. So, that's where I started to really lean into the marketing side of things. And, instead of picking up more new patients, what I was doing is I was getting rid of patients and I was, going from seeing 35 people a week to 25 to 20 to 15 to 10. And I was giving my staff members my schedule. And instead of filling my time fulfilling on patient care, I was teaching myself marketing. And at the time, I really thought, this is going to be way better allocation of my time. I'm going to see better ROI than, just on the treating side of things. And luckily for me, I didn't really love the treating side of things. I would much rather learn how to run a business, scale a business, market, all of those things. So that's really like, if you look back 3 years ago, would I have thought that we would have, started Patch and I would have gone down, digital marketing rabbit hole? Probably not. But, that's really where Patch got started, was within my own clinic and having to make that decision of, do I want to continue seeing patients and spend my time there? Or do I want to allocate my time to marketing and lean into that? And that's how I'm going to get my clinic busy. And luckily for us, I kind of took a chance on that and it worked. We were able to fill, 2 PT schedules very quickly. We hired a third. Ripple just hired their 7th physical therapist, and it's really all on the back of digital marketing. So, that kind of origin story worked really well for us. So let's fast forward to Patch. And, obviously I grew and scaled Ripple, exited. While I was transitioning out of Ripple, I started Patch, which is a digital marketing company that helps cash-based clinics get more new patients easier. And I know how well that our brand for Ripple worked. And I knew that I wanted to knock this out right from the jump. It was really funny when we first started, taking on clients for Patch. There wasn't even a name for it. It was basically just like, work with Jeremy to help him set up your HubSpot account and run Google ads. This is kind of what the company name was called. And, I knew that kind of that first touch point with people, I really wanted to, have a brand, have an identity for what we were wanting to do. And this is a really cool part of, the process of starting Patch for me, was I was able to, kind of get in the weeds and work with my buddy, Adam Danielson, who is, up in Maine with me as well. And he did all of the branding for Ripple. So I knew Adam super well. He's one of my best friends now. And, I told him, hey, I'm starting this digital marketing company. I want to knock the brand out, but I also want to be involved because I like this process. I think it's really, really fun. And I want to see just what is your creative process around, naming something? How do you figure out the color scheme? How do you build the logo out? All of those things. And even though, I can't design for shit, I still wanted to be part of the process because, again, we didn't have a name. We didn't have colors. We didn't have anything like that. And man, what a blast it was. If you're in the process of figuring out your brand for your clinic right now, I think you'll really be able to resonate with this process because, it was really cool. Basically what Adam had me do was create a mood board, right? So you go into Pinterest and you find images, pictures, color schemes, landing pages, web pages, whatever it might be, that really resonate with you. And if you you have 100 pins in there, you can start to see patterns that show up and what certain color schemes that show up, certain fonts, certain typography. There's a pattern with all of these things. And again, if you're trying to figure out the font for your clinic's website, or just systemize all of the branding that you have, I definitely suggest doing that. For me, what I wanted Patch to be, because I knew, this isn't a local service, or this isn't, like a physical product or anything like that. It was much different than the PT clinic. We're almost more on the tech side of things. But I love Nike's branding, and I love, the look and the feel and really the story that you can get from branding. And, I know that most marketing agencies and tech companies, their branding sucks, for lack of a better word. So I knew that I wanted to take like more of that traditional tech world, put our spin on it, give it that Nike-esque to it, and really make it feel alive. And part of the process working with Adam was just kind of sat in a war room, and we talked about like what we thought Patch did, and especially at that point we didn't really know what Patch was going to do. And we kept going back to this same story that I kept telling of, imagine a physical therapy clinic is a bucket, and leads and new patients are water that you pour in that bucket. If your bucket has a bunch of holes in it, which, a lot of the clinics we were working with had these holes, they weren't using CRM, they weren't doing email marketing, they weren't running ads, they weren't following up with leads. Those are all holes in their bucket. And those new patients and those leads, that water that we're pouring in the bucket, it kept leaking out. So what do we need to do? We need to patch the holes in that bucket. We need to stop the new leads and new patients from leaking out. And really that's how we landed on Patch. And it was just a super fun process, really, really cool. And again, like that's now our story. That's our mission. That's part of our core values that we have at Patch. If you go to our website, thepatchsystem.com, as you scroll on our homepage, you'll see that bucket filling up, and then leads leaking out, and then it getting patched together, and now your bucket is overflowing and your clinic is too busy. That metaphor is really what we played into. And again, that's just the power of a brand, and why I think that, most clinics need to have some sort of story, some sort of emotion behind their name, their colors, what the website says, because we're trying to set ourselves apart from the traditional commercial physical therapy clinic. And I really do believe that branding and identity and the copy that you have, really does these things. And if you just have, if I called Ripple DuPont Physical Therapy or Boston Physical Therapy, then I can guarantee you that our company, our clinic, would not have worked as well as it did. And I think people kind of buying into Ripple and having that identity, it really helped us, and it really helped us grow. And if your goal for your clinic is time, financial freedom, and potentially the eventually selling, if Ripple was called DuPont Physical Therapy, it would have been really hard for me to sell that, because it's predicated around me and I need to be a part of that. And if I'm not, but it's still called that, it makes it a lot less valuable in my eyes. So, that's kind of our brand story, and part of our process on how we do all of these things. And I think, again, most clinics, they haven't thought about their brand. And if you feel that way, then I definitely urge you to put a little bit of thought, put that Pinterest board together, see if you can rework some of the copy, some of the typography, and the color scheme on your website. What I want to do is, kind of leave you guys with this. And if you go to our website, thepatchsystem.com, if you click on the little menu at the top right corner, you'll see why Patch. And, what I did is I created a letter from the founder. I really like these. I think a lot of really good brands and companies that I admire have these founders' letters on them. And I just want to read it to you guys. I think this will really wrap up and tie together the Patch brand for you. So here we go. Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy, CEO here at Patch. In my past life, I was a lot like you. I owned a cash-based physical therapy clinic called Ripple Physical Therapy. I started it in 2021, and in 3 years, it grew to 6 providers and 7 figures. I was happy with how it went. Chances are, if you're reading these, you own a clinic too. And because you need more new patients, marketing for physical therapies clinics is tricky. Luckily, it's what I love to do. 6 months into opening Ripple, I hired a staff physical therapist. I had no idea how to fill their schedule, but it was time. The stress of having to train a new employee, continue fulfilling to pay the bills, and figure out how to get new patients in the door was tough. I'm sure you can resonate. I hired a marketing company to fill my new PT's caseload. What a mistake. Quickly, I realized that they had no idea how to message to my demographic. Our inquiries were looking for aquatic physical therapy, the nearest BCBS provider, or Medicare PT. They thought they were crushing it. So many conversions, they told me, but they had no idea who my target market was. This is why marketing gets a bad rap, and what led me to learn how to market for myself in an eventual obsession with marketing. I love patient care and taught myself everything from ads to what the hell a CRM is to email marketing. It became an obsession, and it still is. And Ripple exploded because of it. We went from 2 providers to 6 in under a year. As a clinic owner, you shouldn't have to worry about marketing. You have bigger fish to fry. Keeping employees happy, being a leader, making local relationships. Trust me, you can't do it all. And this is why Patch was born. Patch is the marketing arm of your business. You're not going to be big enough to hire a full-time employee, but you get all of that and more with Patch. We'll generate new patients via ads, organize your leads in a custom-built CRM, create quarterly marketing campaigns, and much more. The last year of owning Ripple, I went into the office once a month, maximum. I ended up moving to a different state, removed myself from the stuff I didn't want to do, and the clinic thrived. I want that for you, too. It might seem impossible, but if I was able to do it, you can. The Patch system makes time and location freedom possible. Those days of wanting to throw your computer out the window trying to learn how to market, worrying about how you're going to feed a new staff PT leads while keeping yourself busy, wondering if you'll ever get out of the hamster wheel of having to continue patient care to pay the bills, they're over. Patch is your answer. Thanks for sticking around, guys.